Ever catch yourself, like, picturing ancient remedies? Like mixing up your own skincare potions.
Well, today's deep dive, total ticket to that world. We're heading straight to Egypt, uncovering how they train their pharmacists. We get our hands on this university document, lays out their whole system, and whoa, what a journey. Like stepping into this blend of age-old remedies and cutting-edge science, that's Egyptian pharmacy for you. So, okay, imagine you're in Egypt, right? Decided to become a pharmacist. What's step one?
Well, they've got it all structured, like climbing a ladder, right?
No.
Starts with your bachelor's or PharmD now. 5 years, that commitment.
5 years, no messing around. Exactly. Shows this global shift towards the PharmD model, putting emphasis on practical stuff, patient interaction. Super important now, not just in Egypt. They're really aiming to give these pharmacists a well-rounded set of skills. Goes way beyond just, here's your pills.
So it's like they're training these, like, all-in-one healthcare gurus. But the ladder keeps going, doesn't it? After those 5 years, what's next?
Oh yeah, the journey's just beginning. After the bachelor's or PharmD, you can climb to a master's. And for the truly ambitious, PhD at the top. But there's this little mystery our document hinted at. Seems even after the 5 years, there's another year of training. Doesn't say exactly what that is, though.
A whole extra year. Okay, now I'm hooked. Like a secret level after the main game. What could they pack into that year that didn't fit in the first 5?
It's really interesting. Maybe it's like a mega internship, hands-on in tons of pharmacy settings. Or maybe it's about specific health challenges they have in Egypt. Definitely shows how much they value real-world experience in their system.
That's different from what we usually hear, right?
Yeah.
How does Egypt's whole setup compare to, say, how it works in the U.S.?
Great question. There are definitely similarities. Just like the U.S., Egypt's on board with the PharmD, recognizing pharmacists need that clinical, patient-focused approach. But where it gets really interesting is their diploma system after the PharmD.
Right. That's where they throw the curveball. They've got this whole buffet of specializations. We're talking industrial pharmacy, hospital pharmacy, clinical, all the classics. Then bam, it's like cosmetics, medicinal plants, diplomas in those. It's like they combined an apothecary with a beauty store.
The cool thing is, this isn't just about having lots of choices. It reflects what healthcare actually needs in Egypt, their priorities.
So they're matching pharmacists' skills to what their healthcare system actually demands? That's seriously practical.
Totally. Suggests a much broader role for pharmacists there. It's not just about handing out meds, it's understanding traditional remedies, even cosmetic science, becoming these multifaceted healthcare pros, really serving their communities.
Mind blow. Okay, so we've got this solid base of their degrees plus these intriguing diplomas, but what about the actual learning environment? What's it like inside an Egyptian faculty of pharmacy?
Think of it like you're entering this vast library, right? But for pharmaceutical knowledge, each department is like a different wing, specializing in its own thing.
Okay, I'm picturing towering bookshelves, mysterious potions bubbling, maybe even a secret passage or two. Let's explore. First department on our tour.
Let's start with pharmaceutical technology. You'll find the medication makers there. They take raw materials and make them into the actual pills, potions, everything. It's precise, high-tech, a little bit of pharmaceutical magic, you know?
Sign me up for that lab tour. Now, how about industrial pharmacy? That sounds like we're about to step onto a factory floor. In a good way, of course.
Exactly. Industrial pharmacy, it's all about the big picture. Mass production, strict rules, making sure meds are made safely and effectively, but on a huge scale. They get into things like GMP, good manufacturing practices, making sure it all meets global standards, and validation, which is all about proving their methods consistently produce top-quality medications. Seriously meticulous.
Wow, no cutting corners there. Up next, pharmacognosy. Now, that one sounds seriously intense, like ancient scrolls and long-lost herbs. What goes on in that department?
It's like Indiana Jones, but for modern medicine. Pharmacognosy is all about drugs that come from plants and animals. Remember that medicinal plants diploma? This is its home turf.
No way. They're really diving deep into natural remedies, one foot in ancient traditions, the other in a state-of-the-art lab.
You got it. Students in pharmacognosy, they're like detectives, right? Analyzing what makes these plants tick chemically, unlocking the secrets of traditional remedies, maybe even finding new meds hidden within those old practices. Ancient wisdom meets modern science. Super fascinating.
Okay, pharmacognosy is going on my dream departments list.
Yeah.
Now, for one that always grabs everyone's attention, pharmacology and toxicology. Sounds a little dangerous, but hey, Who doesn't like a little thrill with their science?
It's a classic combo. Pharmacology, it's all about the nitty-gritty. How do drugs actually work in the body? How can one little pill set off this whole chain reaction in our cells, our systems, to do what it needs to do?
It's wild, right? Something so tiny having such a huge impact. So we're talking like getting down to the molecular level,
Yeah.
figuring out the mechanisms behind those interactions.
Exactly. And toxicology, well, that's the flip side. What harm can chemicals do? And not just poisons like you'd think. It's medications, environmental stuff, figuring out how they work, their effects, how to counteract them.
High stakes game, figuring out how to combat those harmful effects, developing antidotes, treatments, all of that. Okay, after our dose of thrills, biochemistry.
Biochemistry. This department, they unravel how life works at the molecular level. It's elegant, but so complex. Imagine being surrounded by these maps of metabolic pathways, those chemical reactions that keep us alive and kicking.
I'll admit biochemistry is a bit of a struggle back in my school days, but there's something so mesmerizing about it, right? Like peeking behind the curtain of life itself.
Totally. And when we think about pharmacy, it's crucial. How are drugs broken down in the body? How do our enzymes or proteins interact with them? And how can those interactions be different from one person to the next?
So it's not one size fits all. Our unique biochemistry affects how we respond to meds. That's incredible.
Exactly. Now, for those who love a good puzzle, who are creative problem solvers, the Department of Medicinal Chemistry might be calling their name.
Medicinal chemistry. Okay, that sounds fun. Like, are we talking about actually creating new medicines from scratch?
You got it. Imagine a cutting-edge lab, beakers bubbling, test tubes everywhere, that unmistakable smell of chemistry in the air.
I can practically smell it now. What kind of magic are these medicinal chemists cooking up?
They're designing and making totally new molecules, carefully putting together atoms and bonds, all with one goal: creating the next generation of life-saving drugs.
Wow, pushing the boundaries of medicine. That must be so rewarding knowing your work could impact millions of lives.
It really is. And it's not just about new drugs, it's also about making existing ones better, more effective, safer, easier for people to take. They're constantly innovating, being creative, always testing and refining. It's a field driven by science and imagination.
Always innovating and refining, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I feel like we've only scratched the surface of this world.
We've still got one more crucial stop on our tour: pharmacy practice and clinical pharmacy.
Ah, where theory meets the real world. Aspiring pharmacists get to experience what it's really like to be on the front lines of healthcare.
Absolutely. Imagine, you're shadowing pharmacists in all sorts of places: busy hospitals, small clinics, local pharmacies, seeing how they work with patients, understand those complex prescriptions, and give expert advice on medications.
I can picture it now. They're like the medication whisperers, right? Bridging that gap between doctor and patient, making sure those prescriptions are safe, effective, and just right for that person. That must be so rewarding to see that direct impact on people's lives.
You said it. Pharmacy practice and clinical pharmacy, it's all about bringing that scientific knowledge to the human side of healthcare, making sure patients get their meds and know how to use them safely and effectively.
This has been incredible. We've gone from dissecting degrees and diplomas to, like, exploring the inner workings of a faculty of pharmacy. It's amazing to see each department's role in shaping future pharmacists.
And we've only just begun to uncover the intricacies of Egyptian pharmacy education.
Back for more Egyptian pharmacy adventures. Deep divers. Feels like we hopped into a time machine, bouncing between ancient traditions and cutting-edge labs, all in the name of health and well-being, right?
It's really something how smoothly Egyptian pharmacy education blends those worlds together.
Totally. Okay, so we toured the departments, we get the whole degree and specialization thing,
Yeah.
but now I'm dying to know, what's it actually like? Being a student in this world. Can you picture it? The labs, the lectures, that smell of exotic herbs mixed with, well, maybe a little formaldehyde.
I think you might be surprised by the variety within those halls. Every department's got its own vibe, its
Yeah.
own rhythm.
Okay, now you've really got me curious. So, say we're back in our imaginary faculty of pharmacy. Just finished this fascinating lecture all about ancient Egyptian remedies. Where to next?
Let's try the Department of Pharmaceutical Technology. Picture a lab, but it's buzzing with activity. Gleaming equipment everywhere. High-speed mixers whipping up creams, granulators turning powders into perfect tablets. Oh, and get this, 3D printers?
Hold up, 3D printers, no, that's what I call high-tech. What are they using those for in pharmacy?
It's revolutionizing how meds are made. Imagine personalized pills, tailored to the exact dose a patient needs, maybe even their favorite flavor.
Custom-made meds, like
Yeah.
something out of Star Trek. Those students must feel like they're on the cutting edge.
Oh, for sure. They're learning how to control drug release, make totally new forms of medication, basically engineering meds at the molecular level. It's a far cry from the old mortar and pestle.
Incredible how far we've come. Okay, but you know I love a good contrast. So, from those high-tech labs in pharmaceutical technology, let's go back in time, shall we, to where ancient wisdom rules.
In that case, let's step into the Department of Pharmacognosy. Close your eyes, imagine. Earthy scents of dried herbs, spices, all those botanical extracts.
I can practically smell the history.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like being a student in that world, surrounded by medicinal plants?
Picture this. Shelves stacked with jars, glass jars, each one holding a different plant specimen. Chamomile flowers, ginseng roots, maybe even a few sprigs of something called dragon's blood.
Dragon's blood. Okay, now you're messing with me.
I promise, it's real. It's this bright red resin, comes from a certain type of tree, long history of medicinal use. And that's what's so cool about pharmacognosy. It's about connecting those old ways with modern science.
Like they're unlocking secrets hidden inside these plants. Knowledge passed down for generations.
Totally. They're analyzing the chemicals in the plants, finding those active ingredients, figuring out how they work in our bodies. Who knows? Maybe one of these students will find the next blockbuster drug, hidden in some unassuming little plant.
Talk about a legacy. Okay, from ancient remedies, let's jump to a department that's all about how drugs work inside us. Pharmacology and toxicology.
Yes, the dynamic duo. Pharmacology, you're in a lecture hall, focused. The professor is explaining how one tiny drug molecule can trigger this whole chain reaction in the body.
It's mind-blowing. These little molecules messing with our cells, our systems, making things happen, relieving pain, fighting infections, all of it.
It really is, this intricate dance between chemistry and biology. And in toxicology, they're looking at, well, the potential downsides of that dance. How can chemicals cause harm? And not just poisons, like you'd think. Everything's fair game. Meds, environmental toxins.
It's a high-stakes game, figuring out how those substances work, what they do to us, and most importantly, how to counteract them if things go bad.
Exactly. They're like the guardians of drug safety, always looking for potential risks, working on antidotes, treatments, critical role. Their work directly protects public health.
Using their powers for good. Okay, from the details of drug action, let's dive into biochemistry, where things get seriously molecular.
You could say that. Picture yourself staring at these intricate diagrams. Metabolic pathways, they're called. Complex chains of chemical reactions happening inside us right now, every second of every day.
It's almost too much to think about. Like our bodies are these crazy chemical factories, constantly breaking stuff down, building new stuff, keeping everything in balance.
That's it. And biochemistry is about zooming in on those reactions. What enzymes make them happen? How's it all tied to drug metabolism? It's understanding how our bodies break meds down, how fast they're absorbed, and how those things can differ from person to person.
So it's not one size fits all when it comes to medication. Our own individual biochemistry plays a part. That's wild.
For sure. And if you're the type who loves a challenge, who likes pushing boundaries and exploring, the Department of Medicinal Chemistry might be for you.
Ooh, medicinal chemistry. This is where the real pharmacy innovation happens, right? Concocting new cures, designing those groundbreaking new drugs.
Absolutely. Picture it. A lab, but it's alive. Flasks bubbling, colorful solutions, that constant hum of discovery.
I can practically smell the brain power.
These are the folks who build medicine at the molecular level. They take their chemistry, biology, even a bit of physics, and use it all to create the next generation of life-saving medications.
That must be so demanding, but so rewarding. To know your work could literally impact millions. What does it take to be a medicinal chemist? What skills are essential?
Well, first off, you need a deep understanding of organic chemistry. That's the basis for how molecules are structured, how they react. You got to be a sharp thinker, able to design experiments, understand the data, troubleshoot when things go wrong, which they always do, right?
Yeah.
But maybe most important is that creative spark. You got to think differently, see new possibilities.
So it's science and artistry.
Exactly. It's constant experimentation, tweaking formulas, testing, refining. It's meticulous. But when that breakthrough medication comes, that's a phenomenal feeling.
I can only imagine. Okay, from the tiny world of molecules, let's zoom out to the very human side of healthcare. The Department of Pharmacy Practice and Clinical Pharmacy.
That's where the rubber meets the road, as they say, where all that theoretical knowledge gets put into action, helping real patients.
So it's about making that connection between the science and actual patient care, making sure people get their meds, but also understand them, how to use them safely, all of that. It's about that human touch.
Exactly. Imagine you're shadowing these experienced pharmacists in all their different environments. Hectic hospitals, small community clinics, your local pharmacy, seeing how vital their role is in the whole system.
I can see it. They're counseling patients on their meds, answering questions, calming anxieties, making sure prescriptions are just right for that specific person.
They're the medication experts, working hand in hand with doctors, nurses, everyone to get the best outcome for the patient.
Like they're conducting this whole symphony of medications, making sure it all works together, promoting health and well-being.
That's a great way to put it. They're constantly analyzing patient info, watching out for drug interactions. They're advocates for their patients' well-being.
It's huge, that role. They're right there on the front lines, making a difference in people's lives every single day.
Absolutely. And their training reflects that. They have to be adaptable, work well in any setting, and always approach each patient with compassion and understanding.
What an incredible journey this has been. High-tech labs, traditional apothecaries, the molecular level, the deeply human side of it all. It's amazing how each part of this system works together to shape these pharmacists. They're incredibly well-rounded, so highly skilled.
And we're not done yet. We still have to uncover the why behind all of this.
Welcome back, deep divers. Final part of our Egyptian pharmacy adventure. I'm kind of feeling like we've earned honorary degrees by this point.
You've definitely been paying attention to their educational system, that's for sure.
It's been wild. We've covered high-tech labs, ancient herbal remedies, the whole shebang. But there's this one thing kind of bugging me. We've tackled the degrees, those cool departments, all those specializations, but I'm really curious about the why now.
You're right. Gotta understand the context, the bigger picture. Remember those unique diplomas we talked about, like cosmetics, medicinal plants? Those aren't just resume stuffers. They tell us something deeper is going on.
Those definitely got my attention. Feels like a different kind of pharmacy, not what we're used to.
Exactly. Lots of places, pharmacists mostly just dispense medications. But in Egypt, their role is way bigger than that. They're often seen as these trusted healthcare advisors, especially in places where seeing a doctor is tough.
So they're filling a gap, a vital one, like a bridge between patients and doctors, especially in underserved areas.
Exactly. Now think about that medicinal plants diploma again. Shows a deep respect for traditional medicine, which is still huge GE in Egyptian culture. These pharmacists, they're not just about modern meds, they're connecting those ancient remedies to today's practices.
That's so cool. Like walking encyclopedias of healing, ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science. Way more holistic.
Totally. And that cosmetics diploma, that's a big clue about how the role of pharmacists is changing in Egypt, going way beyond the typical healthcare settings.
It's like they combined an apothecary and a beauty counter, which, honestly,
Yeah.
sounds kind of amazing.
Right. Egyptians are known for their skincare, their beauty traditions, and now, with more cosmetics using active ingredients, pharmacists are in a perfect position. They can be the experts on what's safe, what actually works.
So someone with that cosmetics diploma might be advising on, like, acne treatments one minute, then anti-aging creams the next.
Totally. And it shows how adaptable Egyptian pharmacists are. They're not stuck on one path. They can adjust, meet the needs of their communities, whatever those needs are.
This is eye-opening. It's not just about handing out diplomas. It's about creating these well-rounded healthcare pros woven right into the fabric of their communities.
Exactly, giving them the knowledge, the skills, the cultural understanding, so they can navigate this complex world of healthcare and really make a difference.
This whole deep dive has been incredible. Egyptian pharmacy education, their unique degrees, those fascinating diplomas, we've seen it all, from high-tech labs to traditional apothecaries. And we've gotten a glimpse of how the pharmacist's role is changing there.
It's been great sharing this journey with you.
You know, the biggest takeaway for me is how much we can learn from each other, seeing how other cultures approach healthcare. Egyptian pharmacy, it's a perfect blend of old and new, scientific and cultural. Really makes you think.
Couldn't agree more.
As always, deep divers, we hope this episode sparked your curiosity, got you thinking. Now take a look at healthcare where you are. How does it shape your pharmacists? What challenges do they face? What opportunities are out there? Keep those minds curious and keep exploring. We'll see you on the next deep dive.